The Guerrillas by S. Teackle, Wallis. After I'm done reading this piece of poetry, I'm going to give a little history on this little piece of land behind me and those that are buried here. Awake into horse, my brothers, for the dawn is glimmering gray. And hark, in the crackling brushwood, there are feet that tread this way. Who cometh? A friend? What tidings? Oh God, I sicken to tell, for the earth seems earth no longer, and its sights are sights of hell. From the far-off conquered cities, from the voice of a stifled wail, and the shrieks and moans of the houseless ring out like a dirge on the gale. I've seen from the smoking village our mothers and daughters fly. I've seen where the little children sank down in the furrows to die. On the banks of the battle-stained river, I stood as the moonlight shone, and it glared on the face of my brother as the sad waves swept him on. Where my home was, glad are ashes, and horrors and shame had been there. And I found on the fallen lintel this tress of my wife's torn hair. They are turning the slaves upon us, and with more than the fiend's worst art, have uncovered the fire of the savage that slept in his untaught heart. The ties of our hearths that bound him, they have rent with curses away, and maddened him with their madness to be almost as brutal as they. With halter and torch and Bible, and hymns to the sound of the drum, they preach the gospel of murder, and pray for lust's kingdom come. To saddle, my brothers, look up to the rising sun, and ask of the God who shines there, whether deeds like this shall be done. Wherever the vandal cometh, press home to his heart with your steel. And when at the bosom you cannot, like the serpent, go strike at his heel. Through thicket and wood, go hunt him. Creep up to his campfire side, and let 10 of his corpses blacken where one of our brothers have died. In his fainting, footsore marches, in his flight from the stricken fray, in the snare of the lonely ambush, the debts we owe him pay. In God's hand alone is vengeance, but he strikes with the hands of men. And his blight would weather our manhood if we smite not the smiter again. By the graves where our fathers slumber, by the shrines where our mothers prayed, by our homes and hopes and freedom, let every man swear on his blade that he will not sheath nor stay it till from the point to hilt it glow with the flush of almighty vengeance in the blood of the felon foe. They swore, and the answering sunlight leaped red from their lifted swords, and the hate in their hearts made echo to the wrath in their burning words. There's weeping in all New England, and by Schuylkill's banks a knell, and the widows there and the orphans, how the oath was kept can tell. By the way, this poetry was composed, the person who composed it was actually a POW. He was in prison when he wrote this. It was smuggled out by another prisoner. Now, what about this behind me? This is a Confederate memorial to a battle that took place outside of town. I believe it's 26 people lay dead. They're not all here. Some of them died later. No. They're not all buried here, but the memorials are here. Some of them are buried here. I think it was, again, 26. The armies of the North came, and we didn't have an army here. they mustered up some soldiers that happened to be here. Some of them were actually in the hospital. And they went out to fight. And they fought a gallant battle. They didn't go fight for slavery. They were not the aggressor. They didn't try to invade. They were just trying to protect their home. And that's the story of these men buried here.